Hey y'all!
Hey.
It is Monday. We are still without our bearded buddy. Oh, hold on
Sad
one
day.
second. Yes, it is a sad day because I love Tom and I haven't seen his face. But we are now rewatching season one of Wheel of Time because we cannot get enough.
Yep. We couldn't stay
And
away.
and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy looking at Barney, so it's fine. But tonight we have a special guest. You may have listened to her podcast. Let's bring out Sharnise.
All right, I'm gonna try to do the Tom magic here.
Oh,
Look, here comes an awesome guest.
Hey.
Sharnise!
Hi,
Tell us the name of your podcast because I love
Jumbo. The name of my podcast is What in Color. Wheel of
it.
Time
Yes,
in
and
Color.
I love that
Thank
because we are here and we read these books and nobody thinks we do.
we
There is
we do read these
yes,
books.
we
We do.
do read these books. We like these things.
We do.
Um,
Yes,
yes,
gnome.
Noman God.
Yes.
You know there was a season one, and we have grown from it, and we have learned from it.
We just don't talk
But
about 7 and 8. That's all.
I mean I talk about eight a lot because what? But
Yeah.
it's okay.
True.
It is okay. But so before we jump into that, Sharnice, tell us
Yes.
about the adventure you went on
Just this weekend? Just the other day?
just this
Just
weekend, just
yesterday?
the other day.
Yesterday.
Yes,
Yesterday.
yes.
So yesterday here in New York City, Amazon hosted a screening of episode 208, season 2, season finale, um, in Manhattan. And they said we have a surprise guest. And the surprise guest was Rafe. Oh my gosh. And so Rafe watched the episode with us, sat right in the audience, and I was like, oh crap, I should have sat over there. And then afterwards, he got on stage and there was a Q&A. I actually recorded the entire Q&A and it's posted on Watt and Colors YouTube channel. So if anyone is interested in seeing the Q&A, it lasts almost 30 minutes. He gave us a couple of tidbits about what's to come in season 3. He talked about the challenges of um, you know staying true to the core
Mm-hmm.
of what this story is about. And also while putting it on screen for for everyone to enjoy, book readers and people who have never read the books. And it was very cool. It was very, very, very cool. Very excited. And I got to speak with him. I took a picture with him.
I
And
saw the picture, guys.
yes, I told him what I told him was how I appreciated uh the representation in the show. I
Mm-hmm.
get to see people with this kinky stuff right here.
Mm-hmm.
I see that in a fantasy show, yo.
I know. I don't
Crazy.
know if our less melanin blessed folks understand the impact that has on us little brown girls who grew up reading stories about people that did not look like us but doing
Look
stuff
like
we
this.
wanted to do.
Let me tell
And
you
I was and
something. Really quick anecdote. I remember in fourth grade, Sonia Mankowski. Me and Sonia Mankowski, this is fourth grade, and she's like, Sharnice, why isn't your hair like mine? And I'm like, I don't know, Sonia Mankowski. Why is my hair not like yours? And she was like, do you brush it? Yeah, I brush my hair. I think I brush it more, like brush it a lot. I'm like,
oh
okay.
no, that was the no, Sharnese, no.
Girl, I went home that night and I brushed and I brushed and I brushed and I brushed and I came back to school and my hair was still like this. And she was like, you didn't brush it. I was like, I brushed it. Sonia Mankowski, I did. I swear I did. I don't know why my hair is not straight like yours. Like it was so innocent. And um You know what I mean? Like it was just so it's such a cute thing when I think back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, but like we didn't understand that, like, why there were those differences.
Differences, yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, to see that, like, I'm digging. Perrin got the little mini fro going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, Perrin with your fro. You know, definitely Avienda's locks. Yo, I used to have locks. I had locks like 3 times. I would grow them, cut them, grow them back, cut them. Seeing Avienda
I will.
screen,
Yeah.
I think I'm going back. I think I'm going
Yeah.
back to
So I think I've said it every episode, but being the mother of a biracial Avienda, I was very excited that
yeah,
Avienda.
biracial Avienda on screen.
Yes, yes, I was very excited for that.
Yay!
Yes. So I am glad you expressed that to him because it is important. Because
Yeah,
honestly, Avi sat down and watched it and like never questioned anything. Like now,
yeah,
of course, my child has grown up in a house where mommy's one color and daddy's another color, and her siblings are arranged,
yeah,
right? So, like, but she does understand that there are people that there are some issues. Some people have some issues, like just with our family, or you know what I mean, that type of thing. So she knows that it's out there. But the fact that she sat down and watched Wheel of Time and just never questioned any of it,
yeah. Let me
never
tell you,
questioned.
when I told him that, how much I appreciate it, and by the way, I'm getting me some stitch braids that the Sean Shin that the Sultan had.
So I
They
love
had
those.
three.
Those were
They had
wigs,
three.
Char.
And I wear stitch braids. I get braids like that
Mhm,
all the time, but never 3. I've gotten 4, but the
mhm.
one in the middle and then 2 on the side, the 3. That's my next hairstyle. I promise you. As much as I hate the Sean Chan, I'm getting the Suldam stitch braids. I'm walking. I'm like, I want the Suldam stitch braids. They're gonna be like, what? I'm like, I
What?
just need stitch braids. I just need stitch braids. 3 of them, please. 3 stitch braids. Thank you. I'm getting them. I'm getting them.
But you were saying when you told him that?
When I told him that, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm an Aquarius. I'm, um, your sign, head in the clouds. He hugged me.
Aww.
So Rafe's my new best friend now. So if y'all need anything, you go through me.
But we got, yeah, we got it. We'll talk after the show.
yeah. And he said he was gonna listen to Why in Color. Oh my
That
gosh!
means we all have to.
Oh,
Is what that
Yes.
means. Now in the chat, I put the link to the Q&A, but I think I know I saw it on Dragonmount's Twitter. There I think I saw the Q&A. We have a Q&A with Rafe. I don't know if it was at the New York.
So he also did the day before on Saturday was
That's probably what it is.
New York Comic Con. So he also did a
Mm-hmm.
Q&A on Saturday at New York Comic Con. So he surprised everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically just watch everything on our YouTube and then Sharnice's YouTube and listen to her podcast.
Yes.
That'll do it. All right, so we are going back to episode 1 of Wheel of Time.
Yes.
So, and chat, you can chime in too. Do you guys remember how you felt sitting down to watch the first episode?
Oh, I cried before I even saw a minute of it. Like, it was such a moment for me where I never thought in my lifetime I was going to get anything new, Wheel of Time. Like, when I finished that last book, I was like, that's the end of it. Before it even came on the screen, like, I get chills thinking about it. I cried. Although, as we know, I cry a lot, like I talked about last week.
that is true.
But yeah, it was so exciting for me. I just don't think, I don't know. I just didn't think it was ever going to happen. You heard about it. You talked about it. I was in disbelief that it was actually. I still am.
We already had gone through the Winter Dragon debacle, so
yeah.
That was. Sharnise, have you seen Winter Dragon? Did you watch Winter Dragon?
That
I
from
remember
years
being
ago.
so excited.
You
What
mean
was that?
that weird?
Yes, that. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
That. So yeah. So I remember like when it dropped, like we found out by accident that Winter Dragon was coming out, and in the Facebook group we lost our minds. We're like, what is this? What? Because I think somebody just randomly posted it. It's like, is this about Wheel of Time? And yeah, it was. I remember it came out at like 3 in the morning, and I sat up to watch it and was so mad afterwards. And I was like, I stayed up for this. But Sharp, first time seeing episode 1, season 1. How'd you feel?
Listen, first of all, I saw the screening of episodes 1 and 2 before it
Mm-hmm.
dropped
It released. Okay.
here in New York. So I was in a theater with a whole bunch of Wheel of Time fans, and we all got to experience it on a big screen, episodes 1 and episodes 2. I think I cried when Perrin
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, oh my gosh, it was a collective gasp. Let me tell you, when that
Yeah.
happened, the entire theater, we all were like, and I don't know when I started breathing after that. For me to start breathing after that, but I was like, what are we doing right now? What happened?
Well, I feel like for book readers seeing that, because we already know Perrin's personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we knew that he was gonna be messed up for the rest of the show because of that.
He got some
Um,
unresolved trauma that he needs to
yes,
deal with.
yes, but I stand by this. I know a lot of people didn't like him having a wife and then killing her off right away, but to me that was the best way to visually show why he was so careful around
Mm-hmm.
everybody else and so afraid of giving over to the wolf because we couldn't hear his thoughts. We did not have 3 books to go through to build this. That was quick and easy. That was quick and easy, and it did it. Like, and now everybody knows why he's a little bit on the emo side, just like, but so careful, just a little bit. Well, I'm jealous that you got to see with a whole bunch of Wheel of Time fans. I remember,
Love.
of course, I was excited. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was me and my husband because bless his heart, he read these books just because I was so obsessed. Like that is how committed he is to me. Yes. And
Mine
then
still
he's the one
hasn't
to
done it.
well, tell him to do audiobooks. That it helps to do audiobooks. Yeah. But then it
So
was
I started
go
because of
ahead.
my ex-husband got me into them. So
Well, look, he was good for something. So but also my husband's the one who decided we should name Avienda Avienda because he loved the name so
Okay.
much. I wanted to name her Berlin because we have Asia and we have Roman. And I'm like, we need a city. But I'm a woman of my word. I said he can name the next one whatever he wanted, and we've got an Avienda. I don't know if he regrets it or not, but we're here now. But I remember my dear sweet son Roman, who has always been the kid to sit and just watch stuff with me. Like he just likes to be cuddled up next to me. I've been trying to get this boy to read these books for as long as he's been alive. No interest, too many books. He fell in love with the show. Like he was so excited to sit and watch the show with me. So like that's one of the best things that came out of it for me is that at least it got to expose him to this world that I love so much without me rambling like a crazy person to him and him just being like, okay, mom, okay. So
Have you guys had anybody? So I have a bunch of like shirts, not a bunch, but that are the specifically book, not even television show. I have noticed just recently being out in public, like people are starting to notice and like know what that means. Like a guy the other day when I was walking down the street was like, "Oh, yeah, like I know what you're talking about," and that is just surreal because nobody ever knew
mhm,
what I was talking. Wheel of what? Huh? What are you talking about?
mhm.
Like it's just amazing to see people on the street. There's the IT guy at my school. I wore the Wheel of Time shirt the other day. He's like, "Oh, do you like the show? Have you read all the books?" And we got to have a dialogue about it. I was like, "Let me tell you, yes."
Yeah, no, because there are so many Wheel of Time friends that apparently live nowhere near each other. Like
Yep.
fans, because like you never see them out, but then you go to things like Jordan Con or WatCon, like there's so many people here. Like, where do you all live that I don't see any of you just in the wild?
well, that's why I
So,
started recruiting, right? So um,
mhm.
a coworker of mine, when I first started working in her location, I noticed she had some Star Wars books. She
Oh yeah.
had Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones books.
Okay.
I was like,
Mhm.
girl, you read you reading A Song of Ice and Fire? let me tell you what you need to be reading. And I brought my copies of the books and loaned them to her. And I think she's on book 10 right now.
Yeah, I will. The
Now.
person
So
who
I
shows the
really,
slightest bit of interest, yeah, I will gift you Eye of the World. You have
yeah,
lost nothing on the deal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like if you don't like it, don't read it. Donate it to the library. I'm not even gonna ask you to spend money, but just try it.
Let me tell you,
Oh yeah.
my podcast, White and Colors, was created because of how much I talk about the Wheel of Time. So Kiba, who's my co-host, and she's also my best friend, Kiba and I met in my book club. So I am the organizer of a local chapter of Mocha Girls Read book club, and it's a national book club. But I run the New York chapter, and she's been in the book club with me since the beginning, and that's where we met, and that's where we became friends. But every book club meeting, no matter what we were reading or discussing, if anything remotely reminded me of anything in the Wheel of Time, I don't care what it. If somebody's attitude reminded me of Nynaeve, I would be like, and that's just like in the Wheel of Time. There's this character, her name is Nynaeve, and let me tell you, and da, 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 da. And it got to the point where whenever I would talk, people would be like, "Wheel of Time again." Yeah, don't say it. Wheel of Time, right? Wheel of Time. So she got tired of me talking about the Wheel of Time. And she texted me a picture of her in a bookstore holding up the Eye of the World. I called her right away, screaming, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Are you gonna read these books?" She was like, "I'm going to read one book. I am not
That's not how it
committing
works.
to 15 books. I will read one book." I was like, "Bet. If you read one book, I will reread and read it with you, and we could talk about it." And then it was her idea. She was like, "Well, if we're going to do that, let's do that on a podcast." And I was like, "Yo, yeah, let's do that." And that's how White and Color was created. So you
That is
gotta you
such
gotta recruit
great.
folks. That's how we recruit them.
We do. You do. You
Really,
do have to recruit them because they don't know they need it. They don't know they need it,
right.
but they do. You need Wheel of Time in your life. All right. So, guys at home, if you guys want to go ahead and start queuing your stuff up, because I don't want to, we don't want to talk too long because I have to go to work in the morning.
Mm.
So, so let's get queued up. That is how you met Bow and Aubrey. I didn't know that, Dina. So, for those that don't know, Bow and Aubrey and Dina are very involved in JordanCon. So I was a little sad because I didn't realize that they were meeting. I didn't know we were meeting about Wheel of Time. I found out about JordanCon late in the game. So, but now I am fully submersed into JordanCon. Um, but I didn't realize that Dina had met Val and Aubrey first, and then got to JordanCon. Oh, okay. So Aubrey was wearing her snake ring. So I do wear my Aes Sedai ring. I don't have enough scratch for the gold one, and I think silver looks better with my skin tone. But I do get a lot of questions about it,
Yep.
and that will lead to conversations. Also, now that I have a child named Avienda, anybody who recognizes her name, I'm like, well, now we have to talk. Like,
Yep.
if you know where her name came from, there's a chance we can be friends. So,
All right. Are we
all right,
ready?
I think so. All
Okay.
right.
So remember, we're not gonna skip. We're not gonna skip anything on here. We're just gonna hit play and go in 5, 4,
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
All right. And then, Crystal, I know you know, but Shar, make sure you mute it or have it down real low because we don't have any rights to it. So, and people at home, turn on your captions because you learn so much with the captions.
Did you guys rewatch? I mean, I know, Ebony, you did. Did you rewatch all of season 1 before you got into season 2?
I did not. And that is just because I don't have that kind of time to do that. But I did say once we finish season 2 and my son comes home from college to visit, because he hasn't watched any season 2 at all. He said he was going to wait and come home and watch it with me, so we'll
Aw.
have to binge it when he's home for the holidays. But I do have a friend. Actually, he's a friend. Well, he's my friend now too. But he was in the Air Force as my husband, and he's a big Wheel of Time fan. And now his kids and his wife, they all live around here. So I was like, okay, once it's done, we got to pick our favorite episodes, and we'll just do a party one night. We can't watch both seasons because we can't. But I was like, we can pick our favorite episodes and just like talk about those. All right, so
Remember,
go ahead.
I was really confused at what was happening here the first time I watched. I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah. I will say, watching the first episode, I did have some anxiety because I
Hmm.
have anxiety anyway.
Yeah.
But just like you want it to be so good. I want it to be so good. I know it's not going to be what I had in my head, but I still want it to be good. So,
The growth that, I mean, Leandrin's been great from moment one, but the growth, just when you go back and you watch just the early, episodes with her is
hmm
just amazing.
yeah, I feel like they tried very hard to give us Book Leandrin the first
Hmm.
season, right?
Yep.
Like this is you're
Yep.
familiar with this. Here's Book Leandrin, and then season two, so much depth that I was not expecting. I mean, I still think she's probably crazy as all get out, but
Oh yeah, no, she's a little off. She's a little off.
Sharnise, I meant to tell you, I love those earrings.
Thanks, Boo. My
I love
favorite.
them.
My
Yeah,
favorite.
I've got big gold African continents that I wear sometimes, and think
I have
sometimes people
those.
don't know how to take it. Yeah,
I
yeah,
have the big old. Yeah, I have those. They
yeah.
fall out a lot though. Like so, I wear those.
Yes, I
On,
think it's because they're heavy.
they're very. Yeah, I wear those in special.
Yeah,
Like if I'm like trying to look really cute, and I can
yeah, yeah,
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What I was gonna say is I enjoyed Leandrin the entire time, and I hated it. I hated liking her.
Right,
I
right.
hated
Because you
her
because we know.
because we hate her in the books, right?
Right,
Yep.
So
right. But they had the nerve to give her like some logical
and some depth.
misplaced logic.
Yeah,
Right,
like
right.
oh my god, she's human.
Yes, yes. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
was
I don't
not
like
happy
that.
to love her. I was not happy about it, but I do love her.
Well, you
It's
know
like
what I
making
will
me
say.
it's like
Go
making
ahead.
me love the white cloaks. Why did they make me
Yeah,
love?
yeah.
I don't
I
love the
don't.
white looks, but I love the way the Sean Chan look. Oh my,
Ah,
you,
they look incredible. They just look
they
incredible.
do. They
They
do.
look so
I
incredible.
I I don't think I am ever going to be a fan of the rings on the show though. I
mm-mm.
don't. It's too much. I feel like I understand why it was done because I wear my shawl at Jordan Con and it's always falling off
Yeah.
and down around my butt and I dropped it. And you know what I mean? So that didn't make sense and it makes it very easy for a non-book reader to identify who is who. Like even though they're wearing the colors, if you didn't read the books, you don't know that
Yeah.
that could just be their favorite color. So I understand why they did it, but I'm not gonna purchase one. I'm not gonna do it.
I'll get one if I can get a purple one because
Okay, well,
well, so anyone who listens to White and Color knows that we, Kiba and I, have created our own Aja called the Purple Aja, and it's not the same meaning as what what we in the fandom have called the Purple Aja. Purple Aja is the hip hop Aja.
all right. Crystal, can you give us a timestamp of the show?
Yeah, hold on, give me just a second. Sorry about that.
No, 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 you're fine, you're fine. Just somebody in chat was asking.
We're at 5:17. No, 20, 21, 22, 23. Whew. It's a Monday, guys.
It is, and I don't know why we do. I mean, I'm glad we do this on Monday because it always makes my Monday better, and my Mondays are never great. Because over the weekend I forget I have to work for a living, and then Monday happens, and I'm like, shoot. So I also appreciated them adding more depth to the braid, to like the reasoning behind it.
That it's not just a braid. It
That
actually
yeah, it's not just your. I mean, because it really felt like, all right, your mom's like, you can be on your own, but like down the street, here's a braid, go find a husband. Like it didn't, it didn't, you know what I mean? Because it's not like they were gonna leave,
first you got to
but
dance on the spring pole.
yes, the maypole, the maypole,
The maybe, yeah.
yeah. But I liked that they added this to it because if Robert Jordan had realized that he was going to write as many books as he wrote in the beginning, that he would have added more depth to it. I mean, just that was his style, to give us way more history about things than we needed.
Yeah.
I just think the fact that we got to see a ceremony. I didn't
Yes.
reading the books. I didn't get the impression that there was a ceremony. It felt like
I,
the women's circle existed and it
mhm,
decided when a woman was mature enough to wear her hair in a braid. Um,
mhm.
but that didn't necessarily mean that she could join the women's circle. Like that's a
Right.
very special thing.
Right.
And to know that there to have an actual ceremony depicted as to
Right. Right.
how do you become a member of the women's circle. And
Mhm.
I don't see it as a woman's circle as it is depicted in the books. I see this just it's
You can sit
it's
at
a
the grown
rite
folks table now.
it's a
Yeah.
rite of passage for every young woman
Yep.
in
Hmm.
the river.
Yeah, it's not a governing body the way. Though
Exactly.
I do still think, like, I wouldn't be surprised if in later episodes we do go back to the two rivers, and where they need to govern a little bit more, you see more of the elder women kind of being like, don't listen to them, they don't know what they're talking about the men.
Right.
Um and do that, but it does feel like more of a rite of passage, and now you can be in grown folks' business
Right.
because you're grown folk. But I don't think I realized how young Rand looked with the hair until I saw
Uh-huh.
him with the
So
shaved hair.
sweet.
Yep.
He's so
Yes,
sweet.
and though they weren't, though they didn't play them as naive as we get them in the books, right? Matt certainly not naive. Perrin was married, so we knew he knew a little something. Like Rand and Egwene in the kitchen, so they weren't completely naive, but they were still able to show that between season 1 and season 2 that they had that traumatic growth, like that real quick grow up. And
Yep.
him shaving his hair, I think, was the best way to show. And I like how they kind of put it into the shows, like he's just trying to hide that it's red, so he's just gonna shave it all down, and people won't notice because he looks like a baby in this episode with those curls.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a puppy. Just looks like a little puppy.
Yes, he does. He does. And that's how all the boys were in the beginning of the book. Like, granted, they were 20 when the book started, but like so many people who
They were
read the
a
books,
young
they were like 16. They were
because
like
that's how they
16
acted.
when because of how they acted. I'm like, but that's fine, but we know Moraine's been looking for 20 years. So the
Mm-hmm.
baby was born 20 years ago. So I'm not the best at math, but I know that means these boys are 20. So now, young 20, absolutely, but 20 nonetheless. And I will say, Barney does look how I envisioned Matt.
Yeah. He's so handsome. I think about this with a lot of different characters. I'm like, who else are you gonna make me like now that I didn't like
Yeah.
in the books?
So, did we get a for sure casting of Elida? Like, because I haven't looked. Like, have Rafe and the crew said for sure that's who it is? Because I know a lot of people like
I don't know if it's.
it.
I've seen it, but I don't know if it's.
I don't know if it's official or not, because I know there was a campaign for her to be Cat Swain. Like, that's what everybody wanted.
Mm.
Well, I won't say everybody. I know that's what I had been seeing, that they wanted her for Cat Swain.
I don't spend enough time just on the internet to usually suss out what is fan rumor, and
Right.
I leave that
I'll
to
be
others.
I'll be real honest. I wait until like somebody from Dragonmount tells me until like we get like the official word, and then I'm like, okay,
You're in a good place for all the news, so
yeah. I was like, okay, if we're saying it, it's true. I know it's true.
I
Hey,
was
Gnome
Okay,
says there's been a leak, not an announcement. There's been a leak.
okay. There's been a leak. Okay,
so I
then
was
I'm not. Go ahead, Shar.
no, I'm no, I was no,
No,
I
no,
was just
you're the
gonna
guest.
say, I was just gonna say that I feel like I didn't get enough of. I'm just saying I didn't get enough
Mhm.
of Brand Alvear. Like, is he also the mayor here, or is he just the innkeeper?
So, well, he's not as round as I had imagined.
Same.
I think that I feel like they're gonna wait until they go
We
back to
go
the
back.
Two Rivers
Yeah.
Yeah.
to give us more about the Two Rivers. Like
Yeah.
reading, we spent a good deal of time. Like we got a lot because of course you can when you read. I think it'll be more impactful if
Hmm.
we're going back to the Two Rivers and now they're under siege. You can see people in. I know we had a little scuffle here, but you can see people then in their leadership positions because it's one thing the fact that Tom didn't come to the town and there was all of that. You know what I mean? So them saying he's the mayor, nothing happened in the first
For
and
him
second
to, yeah.
while they were in the Two Rivers to
For him to
really
be
like
in a
for him to
mayoral
be the
city,
right,
practice.
right. But if they're under siege, then we'll go back. That's why I think we'll see the women's circle, right? Like if it's going to be like in the books, maybe they are hiding some Aes Sedai in the forest that the men don't know about. Maybe Bran does have his little men's council trying to figure out what to do. But like I think in this season it would have been wasted time
Yeah.
to we needed to we needed to jump right into it really we need and you know with TV watchers you need action, you need mystery and action, you got to have enough action for them to be excited but you got to leave off just enough that they're like I got to see what happens.
Yeah.
We binge watched Goosebumps. First 5 episodes of Goosebumps came out. Can tell me why after the fifth episode I'm like what is happening. I didn't get closure. Like my husband was like it was just the first five, Ebony, and I'm like, you would think I was 12. Like I was so upset. I'm like, I can't go to sleep. I don't know what happened. So, but they all look so young and innocent. Like
Hmm.
much about Perrin didn't like necessarily change, but still here he looks more innocent.
He does.
I guess maybe he's good at having that furrowed brow where he's like he's thinking. Maybe that and maybe he did something between this and the rest of the episodes because he looked younger here. They all did.
Well, he's not as like he's
He's a little bit more cheerful. Yeah, he's not as gruff. Like I feel
Yeah.
like
rough.
he's
Yeah.
gruff in all the rest of the episodes, but here life is good. I mean, so that look that he gives Nynaeve,
Yeah.
and she's telling him to go back. That's how he looks every other episode.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. He was being reprimanded basically,
Mhm. Mhm.
and he was
Like,
like,
sorry, you've been.
So where's Layla?
Mhm. Yeah.
All by
Yeah.
herself.
Working all this iron by herself.
Working
This
this
is not what she
iron.
should be
That's a
doing.
lot. That's hard work.
Yes.
I was not as bothered by all the changes to Matt's backstory. And Matt was always, not always, Matt is my favorite male character in the books now. Not always. Was not always that way. I wasn't bothered by the changes because, again, I think it makes a lot of sense for television that he has to.
It does.
How is he such a scoundrel coming from the Two Rivers? Like, he had to have a little
Right.
bit more
There
than
has a
a
reason.
wonderful upbringing.
There has to be a reason,
Right.
right? Everyone couldn't
And
be
Rand, sweet
wonderful
innocent Rand.
person. Right.
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 Right. And I know people didn't like them making his dad a bad person. And all of that. But I mean that is a Matt like tendency chasing the ladies. But for Matt, like I think trickster Matt, like little prank Matt, it didn't fit here.
Yeah.
Right? Like it and we needed to advance his story really quick. Like we didn't have time for him to be immature and stupid and be like he's gonna go crazy and then come back. And like he needed an eternal struggle where we can see he tries to do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
but he struggles because he doesn't necessarily want to be responsible because
Mm-hmm.
he's always had to be the responsible one.
Right.
And because I mean, absolutely in his family he has got to be he's taking care of everybody. But I like that they showed his interaction with his little sisters, not so much the teasing and everything, But if we get far enough that we get our little band of the Red Hand Orphan, that it will explain it more, right? Because Matt in the book didn't necessarily have any liking of children. You know what I mean? Like his sisters got on his nerves.
I agree. I think when they go back, maybe that's when we'll
I
get some of that
I
redemption.
I think we will. And I say that because there in the Two Rivers, while life wasn't perfect, nothing major happened. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I feel like nothing major has happened to make everybody have their priorities straight, right? I feel like once stuff starts happening, that the blood of Manetherin will come through, and they'll all act right. And I know people were upset about Rand and Egwene not being so innocent, and I was like, I grew up in the country. If y'all really think these
Let me tell
people in
you.
this little teeny town, these children are not being teens and young adults, you probably should check on your own kids because absolutely there's nothing to do out there. They have TV, nothing.
Let me tell you something. When I was 13,
See.
I moved to North Carolina.
Mhm.
I I felt like, and I might have been right. I felt like I was the only virgin.
You probably were. You
Wow.
probably were. I'm telling you, like growing up,
Like, is everybody doing it? Everybody's doing
we
it. I'm the only one who's not doing it.
we we
Like, y'all, I'm 13,
legitimately
I'm 13.
play.
Why are all of y'all doing
Yes,
it already?
yes,
What is
yeah.
going on
We
now?
legitimately played hide and go get it, and I'm like
No, we
never.
played hide and go get it, but we didn't get it. We didn't get nothing.
They were getting it. I refused to play because I was like, y'all not gonna get me killed by my mother.
We played,
Absolutely not.
we played, okay, Lambert. We played Run, Catch, and Kiss and hide and go get it.
Yeah.
And nobody got nothing.
Well,
You
look,
probably got a little feel or whatever, you
yeah,
know, touch something, but that's it.
yeah. The reality is this is what people that age in the country do. That's so the fact that Jordan didn't tell us, oh, land butt.
Oh, I must be a couple. I'm a couple of seconds.
I think I'm a couple seconds ahead of you guys actually. Um,
I
but
already
yeah,
saw Lambert.
um, but yeah, the fact that people were upset about that, I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. It at least now they know about like it was an established relationship instead of Rand being confused about why he felt
About being
weird around
rude.
Egwene.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, this is y'all like each other. It's fine. So how did you ladies feel about Daniel Henney as Lan when you first saw him?
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, girl.
I know. Daddy Daniel can he
Oh
yes.
my goodness. He could get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
See, he can play hide and go get it.
yeah. I would I
And
was
he'd
running
actually
so
get it.
slow. I would run so slow. Oh, Daniel Henny, you're never gonna catch me. Oops, I seem to have
Tripped.
tripped. Darn, you got me now, Daniel Henny. Mm, mm, mm.
And I know that we had 2 years in between this episode and episode two, but it's not like they were young kids where, like in Game of Thrones, those kids grew way faster than production could happen. They had already aged them up, and I'm like, y'all are adults now. Why are y'all still on this show? That I
Yep.
agree, Cena.
Yep.
Absolutely,
That I
honey.
agree.
Absolutely, 100%.
Um,
Perfect.
so but I think by them not being young kids and it being a time gap, like it's good. Even though they did have to like age them up a little bit. But just I going back to I liked how they made them seem older with little things that they did. Just Rand
Hmm.
cutting his hair, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Because I cannot get over how young he looks right now. How young Rand looks. And I like him so much more with his haircut.
I was so excited the first time I saw this fade.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we getting a fade right away. Let's get it.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about the fades having teeth? Because that is not something that I think was just like they could. Well, I won't say that, but it was not something that was ever necessarily mentioned in what made them scary, right? Like in their description.
I think that it's kind of hard to display how scary they were,
Mm-hmm.
because in the books they're the eyeless, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and there's like this metaphysical hold that they have on you, that and you
Right.
feel the fear and everything, and that's kind of hard to display on screen, I would imagine. I mean, I don't make movies, I don't know, but
Right. Right.
so I feel like they had to give us something purely visual,
Visual. Yes.
to scare folk. So
Yeah. 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 No, I like it. Like it absolutely made Avi nope out when she was sitting there watching
Mm-hmm.
it. She was like, "I'm good. I'm good." And I really like the actor for Fane. Like you cannot pick anybody that looked more insane, but
he's
not
such a
insane.
Yeah.
good Bane. He is a great Bane with his crazy looking
Yes.
stuff. Look at him.
Yes. Yes. Like
He looks so creepy.
he does, and like you could believe that he was okay, but like when you found out he was crazy, you'd be like, I knew something was
I
off.
knew it was something wrong with you.
It was something. There was something. I knew there was something. But he does, and he has like the best smile that does not touch his eyes, but the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
smile, and like that you need that to display just how crazy you are. I do love all the chickens roaming around. It reminds me of home because we had a lot of chickens.
Where is home, Ebony?
The eastern shore of Maryland.
Okay.
So where I grew up, there's like a major-ish road that runs through, and all the black people live on this side, and all the white people live on this side. And there's an auction down the street that I used to love to go to as a kid. And about middle school, I was like, I bet we were sold there. Like
Yeah.
they're just selling furniture right now, but I am guessing the Dixons. I am pretty convinced that the town I grew up in is just the slave quarters that
Yeah.
we lived in because
Yeah.
we've been there since the late 1800s, and they own my
Wow.
family owns the majority of that land, and I feel like they just gave it to us.
100%.
Yeah, and I was like, and there's a vast difference between the white town over here. They've got a post office, they've got sidewalks, they've got street lights. We don't have our own zip code.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah. No
That's the
street,
town.
nothing.
So the town that where my family's from in North Carolina, same. We don't have our own
Yeah.
zip code either. So like my address said Dover, North Carolina, and we were 9 miles outside of Dover. So
Yeah, so ours was Chestertown, Maryland, but Chestertown was a good 20-minute drive.
yeah,
But the town right next to us was Crumpton, and they had a Crumpton zip code. So yeah, that is what it is.
I
But I
understand.
tease my yeah.
Hey Tom.
We miss you.
We do miss you. I will say though, I tease my husband all the time because his family bought a house on the black side and they're white, and I'm like, see, he came home with me. Y'all didn't investigate before y'all bought this land.
Oh, that's so funny.
And the scene where they're sitting up on the mountain, that is beautiful. Like, I mean, I don't have the energy to climb up there, but
Yeah, I'm in the pool already.
yeah, well, yeah, I'm there now. Like it just flipped
Let's
over.
got to it.
Yeah.
I'm at 25, 13, 14, 15, 16.
All right, let me scooch
17.
ahead just a little bit.
Oh, I'm a little
All
ahead.
right.
I'm at 23, 24, 25.
5. Yep.
Tom, Beth is going to be the guest next week.
Tom.
So, yeah, we miss you too. But Tom, you do have to be back next week because I won't be here. So,
Woo.
so Tom, you got to come back. And Beth
You
is
can't leave
here,
me.
your sister from
You
another
can't leave me by
mister.
myself. I can't do it. I can't do it alone. It's a lot of. It's stressful.
I told you, I'm just here for the comedic relief. I'm a good time. What can I say?
I also found it interesting that so in the books, people in Emmonsfield, the whole two rivers, they really were completely isolated from the outside world. So
Mhm.
just the idea of Aes Sedai and a white tower, that's like foreign to them. But in the show, everyone knew who Aes Sedai were. They knew,
So in the
said, she's
right,
90
that she had the story. Yeah.
story about how the wisdom before her went to the White Tower and got, like that's something that someone
Hmm.
in Stevens would never do because it was like, oh, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say in the books, like so I feel like Rand's dad Tam brought in most of the knowledge of the outside world because he was one of the
yeah,
few that
Because
went
he
out and
traveled,
brought
yeah.
he left
right. But
that.
I do think they're in general they knew Aes Sedai existed and they knew that they because they knew Tarvalon. They knew that that existed, but it was all very foreign to
Right.
them. Because remember when Moraine first comes into town, they think she's a lady, and they're like,
So,
oh, they find out she's an Aes Sedai. After so it's like they know they exist, but I think it was just the idea that they would ever actually see one.
yeah.
I
And,
think in the
and
books they
books,
were still more like fairy tales or like
Mm-hmm.
children's tales. They knew that they
Yeah.
really existed, but it seemed much more mythical than
Right.
it
Right.
was.
Right. That like they should be really tall. Like they shouldn't look like a regular person.
yeah.
I think is what they thought. But I like this because it explains more of Nynaeve's like dislike of Moraine, right? Because
Hmm.
she had a friend, somebody she admired that had a bad interaction, and Nynaeve will hold a grudge. If she don't do nothing else, she will hold a grudge. So it made more sense. Like it gave her character more depth too,
Yes.
because like in the books, yes, she wants to protect them, and in the books, what they say is it's because Moraine called her child from the beginning, and she's already got an attitude because people weren't respecting her position because she was so young, and then that's they just get off on the wrong foot. But really, the level of aggression Eve has towards Moraine, it could have been built up from everybody just treating her like a kid, but knowing that she had a personal link to Aes Sedai, basically being disrespectful to somebody from her town, made it makes more sense for her to be very angry with an Aes Sedai that would dare come in and then take her kids away.
Right.
Yeah.
Her kids, even though she's only like 6 years older than them, but they're her kids.
Yes. Yes. But they are her kids. I'm like that
They
with the
are.
kids at work now. I could be some of their mamas. But but still, I mean, once you've decided you're protective over somebody, that's essentially your kid.
Yep.
That's and she felt very responsible for them. So, and
I
they all
want to
needed
know.
somebody.
I want to know when we're going to, if and when we're going to start seeing Matt's luck.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm
We
waiting
talked
for. I'm not. Go ahead, Crystal.
No, I was gonna say we talked about that last week and were we gonna get the dice spinning and how that was gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
we
coming. I think it's season 3. We're gonna get there.
yeah. But absolutely, if they could do Fane's whistle just here and there and everywhere, they can absolutely just put the dice like we're gonna have to. Because why wouldn't we? Like I feel like it's important to me anyway.
You know what I picture?
I like. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm
No,
sorry,
go.
Ebony. I was gonna
No, go.
say I'm picture. Do you remember the original Jumanji movie?
Yes. Yeah. The dice that
Hmm.
you would hear. Yeah. 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 The
That's what I.
rattle. Yes.
That's what I imagined.
Yes.
A
Yes. Yes.
drumming
Yes.
sound from Jumanji. That's
Yes.
what I imagined.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what it should be. I like they added this additional ceremony for the
The
lanterns.
lanterns. Yes.
I love those lanterns. And part of it is because it gave an excuse for Tam to be explaining things to Rand and to us.
Mhm.
Right. So the
and
audience,
to
you
and
have to,
to non-book readers that didn't understand.
yeah, you
Like
have
I
to.
think
They still have the world. They have to have the world built.
yes, but I think they did that. They worked it in well. Like even after Perrin rescues Avienda and she's just sitting there kind of explaining Aiel stuff to him. It's like that's good because we we learned it kind of as Rand was learning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As Avienda. But I liked that they did it that way. That they did a good job of just putting it in to the
Mhm.
show where it doesn't feel like you're being instructed on something. It feels like the character is, and you're just listening.
Right.
Which not all shows are great at that. I mean, Tom, you got to tell me what happened in book 4, honey. I don't remember. Is that Tear?
Skipping the book 4 is tier. They're in tiers.
Okay,
Book 4 starts with the all the bubbles of evil with
evil. Okay, so
Oh
that's when
yeah.
he comes down from the mountains, right? He comes. They were in their mountain hideout. They get attacked by Trollocs, and then ran. Is that?
that's book
Cause
3. That's book 3. Book 4 they're
that's
already
book 3.
they're already
They're
in
already out. Okay.
and
Okay. Okay.
they're I think Matt's playing cards with some of the
As always.
noblemen, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Oh, that's right. Okay, I got you. Yeah, the car. Yeah.
bubble
Yeah.
of evil makes the
Yeah. The
characters
cards.
playing
Yeah.
cards jump out and
Yeah.
come alive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of that.
So I will say I know we haven't met him yet, and we might not meet him, but if we do get Julian or Julian the
Julian
beef
Sandar,
catcher, yes, it's got to be Don Cheadle because that's who I imagine in my head.
Don Cheadle is a thief catcher. Yes, I love it. I love it. Don Cheadle is a thief
Like
catcher.
that, and
Yes,
I don't know why, but like reading about that's who popped into my head the first
yes.
time I read it, and I was like, well, it's gonna have to be him. I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know how I'm gonna get War Machine in
Old.
there,
He's kind of old.
but I got he's kind of old to be running around on roofs, but but still that was like one of the few head canons I had. Like reading the book, everybody had this actress for this person. That was one of the few I had. Yeah, and the mom from The Mummy, that was my Moraine. I liked her from Moraine. I can't think of her name now. Evie from the Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser, but I can't remember her name now.
I didn't cast anybody in my head.
Mm-mm.
I
It
never.
wasn't even that. It wasn't. It was only. I think in one of the groups people just started casting because I think we ended up making a separate group for it because people were just putting random pictures in and I'm like, y'all are overrunning this. Let's move this over here. Y'all go do this over here. Just,
I really appreciate um, the show giving us Winter Night in the village where we
Mhm.
see the Trolloc attack.
Yes, yes,
That really watching it like it was really exciting to watch.
yes, yes. Because
Because
even reading the books,
I heard about it. you know,
yes, yes,
it
we just heard about it. But like it was actually the only thing they could do if they wanted to keep non-book readers kind of hooked on the Who's
invested.
the Dragon,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
That was the only way to do it.
Fane just chilling, watching everything happen.
Yeah.
Yes, and just the fact that he's not afraid of them, that right there. Just in
Yeah,
general, like I know everybody's running, but I feel like I would have noticed he wasn't running.
I would have
Like
known.
I would have
As I'm
noticed that.
running, I'm like,
And I was like, he's not. I'm gonna bring this up when we done.
yeah, we're gonna talk about this when it's safe.
Yes, the women's council's gonna meet on this.
Yeah.
What he can't come back here. He cannot. He was not afraid enough. And then Matt running out to get his little
Mhm.
sisters and everything.
Builds his sense of duty.
His
Yes,
him Matt the hero.
yes, that he never wants to be. But this very much like the way they present Matt in the show is he never wanted to be the hero because he never saw himself as the hero. He always saw the bad things about him. As opposed to in the books, you really got the feeling that he just didn't want to be responsible for anything for the longest time.
Yeah.
Like he just wanted to goof off and drink and gamble, and that's why he kept saying he wasn't a hero. At least here, it's like it's a internal self-esteem struggle. Like I can't call myself a hero because of all the terrible things I've had to do, and because of where I've come from and everything. There's no way I can be a hero.
Listen, let me just tell you, generally speaking, I'm not mad at any of the changes. I'm really not. I feel like I'm in a metaverse. A Wheel of Time metaverse.
Yeah.
I'm mad at it. There's so much vitriol out there. Oh my god.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? You don't have to like the show. Like I don't care if anybody else likes the show or not. Don't try to make me feel bad for liking it. Just go on about your business.
Leave us alone.
I've never seen people who dislike something want to talk to people who like it so much.
Yeah.
Convince us that we don't like it either. Like that's the part that makes me mad. Stop trying to convince me I hate it.
So here's the thing. I am not a fan of all the Real Housewives shows out there. I would never go talk to somebody who was a fan and be like, "You actually like this trash? This is awful the way they're representing women. Live your best life." I don't know what that show gives you. I don't know how it makes you feel. I watch Maury Povich. I watch Maury Povich so I can confirm I made good life choices. I watch Hoarders so I can confirm it's not as bad as I think it is in here. So whatever that show gives you. But yeah, just why? It's almost like I think some of those people do like it, but like they have guilt about liking it, so they're trying to get everybody else.
They're watching it.
Right. You're watching it so you can sit and say how awful it is. So don't waste your time, sir and or ma'am. Why would you? You can watch one of these Real Housewives shows. You don't have to watch this. Well, go watch Maury. That's always a good time. Yeah.
But also, Uno, they did him wrong, and I'm still not okay.
But he came back.
Well, I knew it. That's the only. Let me tell you something. I'm not good at making predictions, but when they killed Uno so quickly, I said he's gonna be a hero of the horn.
Yeah.
I knew it. I called it.
Yeah,
I was like, there's no way.
Because he was such a good Uno, and like we know he's a fan of the books, right? Like I don't feel like if they have like somebody who was a fan before the show that they wouldn't do that to them, because he's living his best life, getting to be Uno. But
it's the way he died, Tom. It's the way he died. I can't even watch the scene. It's
that's
the second time. I couldn't watch it the second time. But Tom, Rafe said that they actually did film the whole reveal of Ingtar being a dark friend and that whole thing, but it's a deleted scene. And so he said that we would probably get it next season as a deleted scene.
Okay.
Or maybe before.
So that is acceptable.
Yeah, so go to Watt and Color's YouTube channel, where I have the video of the Q&A with Rafe, and he talks about that.
So, and I will say, like we know they had time constraints, right? Yeah. And as much as I love Ingtar's story, it does not move the plot that much.
No, it doesn't.
Like,
there's a lot that doesn't move the plot.
Right, but it's good world building.
Like a whole book's worth of things that don't.
Well, there's a whole book's worth of dresses too. Dress descriptions. But it's. I think it served. It served well to show that anybody could be would turn to the dark for any number of reasons. That they weren't all evil.
And it could look different for you know what I mean. You don't.
But we do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We do get the what's her Dana? We get the dark friend Dana that kind of sums up. Like she's the compilation of every dark friend that isn't doing it because they want to rule the world. They're doing it because they got crappy life, and absolutely I don't want to keep doing this again and again and again.
Right.
Right? So they gave us that with her. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily move the plot, but it is a good aspect to have.
Yeah.
Um Now, I will say, I know Tom was very excited.
Since you and Rafe are besties now, we need to get on
Oh,
this.
what do you
Yes.
need? What do you need? Let me call, let me text my buddy, you know.
I know Tom was very excited in season 2 to see how much better the weaves looked.
I
Um,
was just about to mention the weaves
yeah,
and showing, you know, the different
the
elements.
different, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But I still think Moraine is one of the most dramatic weavers there is, especially
Yeah.
after we saw the way Land. Yes,
Yeah.
she is full Matrix. She is full Matrix on it. But after we saw how quickly Lanfear would do things, like even when she opened the way gate and Moraine had before Moraine had all this behind her and it looked like a butterfly and all this, and Lanfear just goes and what's happening? Like, is Lanfear just doing this to make you feel bad about yourself? Like, or is this because you come from royalty, Moraine? Is this what that is? Is this just
Right. That was
your dramatic
the
flair?
Lady Domadrid.
Yes. Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh. Mm. When I say the entire theater, we all were like,
Well, yeah, because you're like, what just happened?
I'm surprised I didn't pass out. I stopped breathing for a good 2.5 minutes.
Poor parent. And look, I will say, when Nynaeve got pulled away, I was like, what is happening right now? Like,
No,
Mhm.
what is?
he snatched the shit out of Nynaeve. Like I was like, wait, no.
What is happening?
Mm.
What is happening? I was like, this is too much. It was too much. It was all too much. And like, yeah, no, that upset me a lot.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think,
Yes, yeah. It was that it was much easier for Lanfear to do. I just, to me, it is such a funny comparison that she is doing it without, she's doing stuff without even think. Like, you don't see her flail her arms at all. Any
Mm-hmm.
other time you see Lanfear channel. But I do like the difference that they show these trollocs. Um, but the difference that they show, because also when the Mani channel. Like it's so tight and controlled because it's being
yep.
controlled by the Sodom, as opposed to when any regular Aes Sedai channels, it could be a number of different ways, as opposed to a Forsaken channel and it just being, yeah, this is second nature to us. Like we've always done this. This is how you do this. You're doing it the hard way. You're doing it such the hard way.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
it's the show's way of differentiating
yes,
in terms of level of skill and ability when
yes,
the
because they haven't really. I,
they
they
haven't
keep talking
explained
about
it.
No, but they keep talking about Egwene being strong and Nynaeve being
Yep.
strong, but they haven't really said what that is and what difference that makes, right?
Right.
Because we really haven't gotten into the magic system a lot, which I assume we will get in season 3 because those girls have got to go back to the tower at
Yeah.
some
Yep.
point.
Yeah. And there's
So,
a difference between strength and ability. Like you can be strong,
right,
but you
right,
still ain't doing this.
right. And like the street, like I hope that they do talk about Egwene being strong in Earth and it being
Yeah.
rare for female Aes Sedai to be strong in Earth, because that's like part of the reason she was so prized by the Shan-Chan. It wasn't just her strength; it's what she was strong in.
Yeah.
Um, so I do hope that they do talk about that a little bit more, because I do like I don't I don't need Robert Jordan's like scoring system because I still don't understand the strength.
No.
There's these numbers, there's these others numbers, and I'm like, I don't know who can beat who, like in a one-on-one fight. Like who's who's throwing hands, magical hands. But I do want them to explain a little bit more, and I like I said, I assume we're gonna get it in season 3 because in theory we should be learning. Rand's got to be learning some stuff, and the girls have got to be learning some stuff. So as an audience, we should be finding out the differences as they're finding out the differences.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought we would see classes, novice classes.
I mean, all we really saw
Yeah.
was Alana with that water, and Nynaeve being like, "I'll drink it dirty."
No,
She said,
it was like,
like you didn't say it had to be clean. Like you just said we had to drink it." So,
that just made me thirsty. She drank that water. It's like, oh my God.
Listen, Nynaeve, you don't have to be like this. You know, they're trying to help. You don't have to be like this. They just want to help. But Nynaeve does not like accepting help because she's the one that is supposed to be helping. I mean, that's but she never wants to feel helpless again, which we see in her flashbacks. There were absolutely times when she felt helpless.
Right.
She never wants to feel helpless again, and her not being able to channel at will makes her feel helpless.
Unresolved trauma. All of them.
They all have it. Every single last one.
We need a therapist in the Wheel of Time world.
For Moraine too. Because she's dealing with stuff.
She's dealing with stuff too. She was so rude to her nephew. Like, come on, yo.
But you know, maybe she should have been. Maybe she should have been.
I mean, that's another conversation. That is another conversation. But it's still unresolved. It's still unresolved trauma.
It is. But also, people who live this many centuries, like they're losing people left and right. To some degree, they have to have that hard outer shell, right?
Absolutely.
Like, can you imagine? Yeah. Yeah, I cannot imagine. Like, I'm 47 now. 200 years from now, like, how many descendants am I going to have watched? Past, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not going to care about any of y'all. I'm not. If I do, I'm not going to show it. And don't get attached to me because you're not going to be here long.
We're the same age, Ebony.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Well, I lied. I'm 46. I'll be 47 next month. In a month, actually.
Same year.
Yeah.
We were born in the same year. It's okay.
Yeah. Same year, but yeah. In exactly 1 month, told Brian you got 30 shopping days. So I will be 47. Everybody govern yourselves accordingly. I do want to see Tam again too, so that I do really hope we go back to the Two Rivers, because I do want to see how they're all faring with the.
I want to see Dave Conger.
Yeah, well, she was fighting that trial. Like she's the one that
she got busy with the frolic. She was like, come on.
She was like, look, you rode up in the wrong town. I don't know if they told you about me,
right?
But I'm gonna let you know. You know, when go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when you read this in the books, this, where she kind of explains to Rand why he's got to leave, it has such a different feeling. And when I first watched this, I was like, this was way too rushed. There's no way that these kids are just gonna run off with her. But I mean, it's not too different than how it happened in the books. I mean, it was like a very quick process.
Later.
It was over.
Yeah.
It was overnight. Yeah, it was overnight. He took one sleep, so I'm not as bothered by it watching it again.
And so, me speaking as somebody who has dealt with children, and you'll learn this, Crystal. Sometimes it's better to catch them when they're off balance. Like right now, they're willing to believe just about anything because what just happened? This was my fault. And if I go away, it won't happen again. Let me get my stuff. Now, her announcing it in front of the whole town like that was quite a different change. But again, they've just gone through this trauma, and they know she's an Aes Sedai now. They saw her, and as much as they distrust Aes Sedai, they know that they have knowledge. So in this turning of the wheel, this was the opportune moment for her to be like, look, this is what's happening. All 5 of y'all got to go. Y'all got to come with me. And honestly, if one of them went, they were all gonna go. I mean, like in the book, it's like just the boys, but then here comes Egwene, and then right. So And Tom, like we just don't have Tom here to go with them. But yeah, like it makes sense. But I get why you feel like it was rushed because in the book, like he has time to fall asleep and like have a drink, like have a weird
Yep.
dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Tam should have been unconscious in the end. Because in the book, that's what happens. She heals him. He passes out because that's what happens after you get healed. And
Well,
then
and he has the whole night as he's, you know, trying to
right,
make it into the town, going through it.
right. And they were leaving under the cover of darkness before because they were sneaking out
Yeah.
as opposed to the whole town knowing. But oh my goodness, we're done.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
That was, I feel like it was longer. So Dina in the chat is saying, yeah. Now, Shard, is this what your best buddy said? That you wanted a 90-minute first episode?
So, he didn't say that to me personally. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he said that. He didn't mention that in the most recent Q&A.
So I would have like the ideal for me, and I think I mentioned this on another episode, was like now the Marvel like formula where you have a movie and then you have some shows in between to give you different storylines.
Yeah.
And then they all come together into a movie and then some more storyline. Like I feel like we could have done 3 big movies maybe with enough shows in between to get all the different storylines.
There's
But
definitely
that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but there's definitely enough material to do that.
Right. Like and that's why like in my mind that would have been the ideal way to do it because absolutely I would go to the movie theater to see the big stuff. But like I wouldn't have to go to the movie theater to see the girls training at the White Tower, right?
No.
Like I don't
That's
need to
a
go
side
see
story.
that.
Yeah.
Right. That is a side story to get us to a certain point. Absolutely. The game of houses. Please all the other stuff that happens, all the side stories, the slog, like that.
Yeah.
That could have been some episode. Even I don't think there's a slog. Like,
Rescue and
but I,
Fire.
yeah, all that kind of stuff. That could have been the side stuff. But like, just like we were talking about this I think last episode, that you could tell when you were getting to the climax towards the end of the books because the POV switched so much quicker. Like you would go chapters and chapters and chapters, and it would be all Matt, and then and then Igwe. But when you were getting to when something was fitting to happen, like it was within chapters, POVs were changing, and I would always get so excited because I would read faster. Like my heart would beat faster. I would read faster because I knew something was coming. Something was coming. So like for the part needs to be the movie, but everything building up to it could be the 8 episodes on Amazon. All right, to come say goodnight. All right, you say goodnight. There's my Avienda. Right.
Good night, Avienda.
Okay, they said goodnight. Good night. Yeah, she should have been in bed though, but she had 3 hours of dance tonight after school. So.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That feels like a lot.
She loves it. She dances 10 hours a week, guys. 10 hours a week.
Wow.
She wants to be a professional dancer, so.
That's what you gotta do.
Do it.
I keep telling myself as all these charges come out of our account with it seems like a daily basis. This is an investment. This is going to be our retirement plan. So now after I don't know how many times you guys watched this first episode. Like was this your first rewatch of it, or did you watch it in between? In between the first time and season 2.
I've watched this a couple of times because, like I said, I got somebody to watch the show.
That's right. So, but how do you feel watching it again for however many times compared to your first watch of it? Like, did you notice things? Like even now, did you notice things? Because I know Dina in the chat was saying that she didn't realize that Fane's whistling. You hear it when you see the Murdral.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until my first rewatch.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
and I don't think I would have noticed it had someone else not mentioned it. Like I feel like I heard someone
This is
else
why,
mention it, and I'm
yeah,
like, really? That
Why you
happened?
do the captions? I didn't
that's why
know
you do
until
the
I did the
captions.
captions.
Because if you turn the captions on, it will tell you stuff like that. Also, it will tell you who's speaking.
Well, in the
Like it'll tell you who's
location.
So
speaking, and if you pause it, yeah, it'll tell you where they are.
where
If
they
you
are.
pause it,
Huge.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
watch the captions because I don't hear very well anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not always reading the captions.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
though
yeah. So that is
they're
distracting.
always
Yeah,
there, I'm not. I'm
you're
usually
focused. Yeah,
so
yeah,
engrossed. Yeah, yeah. Because I
yeah.
don't really need the captions, but they help me because
Right.
I hear very well. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm usually snacking when I'm watching TV. Either that or my husband is chewing, and I'm like, "Sir, I don't need to hear all that." But that is part of why I have the captions on. And yes, Noman Garden, I get the irony of Avienda liking to dance. I didn't plan it that way, but yes, she's been dancing since she was like 18 months old, and this is her career choice, and I'm just trying to
Okay.
afford
Thank you for that. I just put my 2-year-old in dance classes, and my husband's
Yeah.
like, he's
too
2. What are
early.
you doing? I was like, they're
This is
coming to
So,
not.
his daycare. They're coming to his daycare, and
well,
they do. It's like a
that
movement
is how
movement
Avi
class.
that is how Avi
Yeah.
started. Webby Dance came to the daycare, and I'm like, oh, this is cute. And now here we are. She is 11. Just thousands of dollars, Crystal, just in costumes alone, in like tuition for school, competition, like the fees for the competition. Then we got to go stay in this nice hotel because they can't just have it like a high school gym. We got to go. We got to go to Richmond to this nice hotel with a conference center. Um, but she does love to do it, and she's very good at it, and it's fine. I am here to support her.
Okay.
And it's inside. Like my other kids played softball and baseball, and anytime I get upset, I'm like, at least I'm inside. I'm not out in this sun, in this weather, watching this. So Shars, you've gotten somebody to watch the show, and they're all caught
Yes.
up. So what do they think? And they're not a book reader, right?
They are not a book reader. They have not
So
read the
Okay.
book at all.
what do they think of the show?
They love the show, and I was very impressed because so we would do watch parties, and they would periodically pause the show,
Mm-hmm.
unmute themselves, and ask me questions. Like, and they're pretty intuitive about their questions. I remember one of the questions was, so if there's a weave to remove a man's ability to channel, then that must mean that there's a weave to give them back the ability to channel. No? And
And
I'm
look,
just like,
he's better than us because
Yeah,
I
I
I
did.
thought that was the end. Like I never even assumed. I thought that was the end. I would have never made that assumption.
let me tell you, I
But
felt like I was in the podcast with Kiba because Kiba is very intuitive, and we record that podcast in her office. So I am a mere few feet away from her, looking directly at her when she has predicted Nynaeve's block, and we are still in the eye of the world. And she
Wow.
was like, I feel like something blocking her, and I'm sitting there looking at her like,
so that's got to be the
Yeah,
hardest part.
I wouldn't be
It's
able to
not
fix
giving
my
stuff
face.
away.
I'd need something.
I
Yeah.
so yeah, so I started drinking water. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
So interesting. So now whatever she's right, wrong, whatever, that's interesting. So the person who I got to watch the show, I had to do the same thing because we're on FaceTime. We're doing a
Mm-hmm.
watch party, so we're watching on our respective TVs, and we're on FaceTime so we can see each other's reactions. And he would
Mm-hmm.
pause, we unmute on FaceTime. And when he said that, when he asked that question about, basically, can you heal a man who's been gentle? That's basically what he asked me. And I was just like,
But I will say now I don't know about your podcast co-host because I don't know how she's figuring stuff out reading. But the show does give us a lot of information a lot quicker than we got it in the books.
It needs to.
So
It needs to
right,
though.
but so I feel like that's why it's the people who are just show watchers are maybe predicting things a little bit faster
Yeah.
because they're getting all this information really quick, and you can make that logical jump. Where if it happened in book 1 and then something happened in book 3, I don't remember what happened in book 1 at this point. Like,
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
what that was. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's why it took some book readers longer to put stuff together, right? Because you're taking in so much information and you don't know what's important and what's not important. Like, what is world building and what is really important to the plot of this story?
Right.
Where pretty much because it's a visual medium, the show is doing all its world building in what you see. So a lot of the dialogue is straight plot.
Right.
So I'm saying it to make myself feel better because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't figure out reading the book. Um, but yeah, no. Well, I really want to just like get a room of show watchers only together and like ask them for their predictions for season 3. Like, I would love to
Ooh,
just
that's a fun idea.
sit and just
Idea.
talk with them to just be like, what do you think? What do you foresee happening in season 3? Based solely on these 2 seasons you watched with no other background to the story.
You want me to? Do you want me to get my friend on the show?
I mean, we could absolutely do. Yeah, I mean, maybe we can put a call out. Maybe we can do a big. It doesn't have to be. It can't be too big because there'll be too many people. But I would be really curious to see like who is hitting it right on the head and who is just as lost as I
Yeah.
was first time I read these books. But no, we'll have to talk about that because
Yeah, that's a good
I feel like
idea.
that would be
I like that.
that would be good. Yeah. But if we can all keep a straight face, right? Like if we all have to sit like this
Gotta
the
wear
whole
masks.
time they're talking. Yeah. Like, all right. So Shar, what day and time does your podcast come on?
So we're on a hiatus at the moment right now. So
Okay.
anyone who has not listened to it, we normally drop every Wednesday, but life has been lifing, and
Mhm.
we're human, so we have to do life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we actually haven't recorded in a while. I am hopeful that we'll get back to it because we've got to get out of the eye of the world because
Yeah.
we're still in the eye of the world. We
Yeah.
just got to Camelin. We just got to Camelin.
Oh, okay. So you okay?
Just
Yeah.
finished the long road trip. Where Matt
Mhm.
being a complete ass the whole time.
Yeah.
So Kiva is thoroughly annoyed. She's so annoyed with everything right
So
now. But
I never got annoyed with Matt.
if you've never listened to the podcast, now's a good time to do so.
Yeah. Get caught up. Get caught up
Yeah,
before you
caught
start putting out new stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll get back to it. We'll definitely get back
Yeah.
to it.
So I've got to ask: are you planning on coming back to JordanCon
I
in
am
April?
coming back to JordanCon. I have decided that JordanCon is my personal
Your
pilgrimage
home con? Yes. So
every single
there's
year.
also WattCon that's
So
in Columbus, Ohio, which I've got to go to.
WattCon it is bad timing. I always
Oh,
that week in July is really bad for me.
yeah.
I'm involved in too many things. Let's just say that.
You and me both. You and
Yeah.
me both.
Yeah.
So I really want to go to WattCon because my older kids are in Columbus anyway. But again, so I work for a football team and training camp usually starts in July.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends. Kind of depends on what's going on there. And yes, the hotel block for JordanCon opens on Saturday, so go get your room. Also, if you guys want to go to JordanCon and have not gotten your memberships, you should do that soon because after the end of the year they go up. So right now they're the least expensive.
Can I ask a question about getting memberships?
Yeah.
I've tried to get it and it told me that I needed something. It was weird. I can't. There's no way to purchase it.
I think you have to be logged in first, right? I think that's what it says. You have to be
You've been
logged
before,
in
so you
first.
should have an account.
So I have to log. Okay, is that what it is?
Yeah,
I'm not-
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you do. If you have an account, you have to log in. Like, if you don't, it's gonna have you make an account. Like, I had to get my husband's ticket and Avi's ticket, so I had Avi's good because Avi it's her first year at JordanCon this year. It's
can't wait to
AviCon.
be there.
But so I sent it to her email, And I was like, go check your email. And she was so excited that her little membership was in there. She's been asking to go for years. Like, it used to be me and Brian's one trip to be Ebony and Brian, but that's over. So we're mom and dad again.
Mine is not
But
going to work out with me. Anaya, you want to come with me to JordanCon?
Tell her it's a good time. Well, so Avi's going because she already has a fan base. Like, Avi, people are already promising her things. Yes. She's like, Mommy, we've got to get ribbons. She wants to dress as a fairy. Paul, he used to be the art director. I don't remember what Paul does now, but he makes fairy ears. Like, that's his business. He's hand painting some fairy ears for her. I'm like, why are y'all like this? Don't do this. But no, she's very excited to go. So, and it's fine. Like, those are her people too, even though she has not read the books yet. So. All right. Do we have any parting comments, ladies?
I was excited to. Sorry, I was excited to start over again. I was kind of, when we talked about it, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to dive right back in, but I missed it. I was ready to go back and rewatch what, where we came from, because I felt like season 2 was so. Amazing. It brought it home for me. All the changes that made me crazy, everything that didn't make sense about season 1, I was like, oh, this is where we're going. And I felt like I was back in the books again. So I'm happy to kind of start the journey over.
Yeah, it's basically the same as rereading, right? Like,
yep.
Because now it does make sense. So I'm sure watching episode 8 for a second time, I will not be so just confused. And I couldn't, Shar, I don't know how you felt about episode 8, but I didn't like the way the blight looked. That made me mad. And then at the end, I was like, I don't know how we're going to get to where we got to go. Like, I was just so confused at the end of season 1. I was just like, I don't know what just happened here. All right, Shar, what you got going on?
Nothing right now.
Besides life. That's right.
Life.
Yeah. Just said that.
Yeah, just come check us out. White and Color. We have a Discord server as well. Come talk to us. Especially now is a really good time to talk to us while we are in hiatus. Other than that, I'm just
out
excited.
Here living life.
I'm just happy to be here amongst the fandom.
So, I am just living life, but I am going to be on Twatcast tomorrow when they talk about season 2.
Awesome.
And I want y'all to know the way they asked me was I got a message on Twitter, and they were like, "It's Joe and Jono. We're at Joe's son's 2nd birthday party, so you can't say no. We'll see you Tuesday night." I'm like, what is happening?
You just got voluntold. That's what happened.
Voluntold, yep.
Yes. I was like, you guys could have just regular asked. You didn't have to do this. I said yes. Because honestly, Joe, I think Joe is so cute, and he knows I think he's cute. But like, my husband's always like, if I was gonna hang out with anybody, it'd probably be Joe. Like, he gets jealous when I do stuff with Twatcast because I get to hang out with Joe and he's not. But yeah, all right. I think that is it. It is 10:32 here. I got work in the morning. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Shar, thank you for telling us all about your adventures this weekend with your new bestie.
Yes.
It was so fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, and the bearded leader will be back.
Yes. Y'all, I'll be at a work conference, but y'all will see Crystal and Tom next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.